all from a sunny but chilly November morning on the Aegean coast. I'm Nazlan and I'm with my friend Aygen. You are listening to the Turkish Coffee podcast.
Hi, thank you for your feedback on our previous episodes. Some told us we were too excited and too fast, so we'll try to be slower this time and less excited.
But we are indeed excited because it's so nice to be sipping coffee, talking to you, and have other people overhear us.
Yeah, that's right. And we had some feedback on the content as well. A friend said she had expected us to talk of Angela Merkel while we were discussing women in politics last time.
I thought you actually made a roundabout reference to her when you talked about women in power who were stocky and wore a suit.
Well, yes, I may have meant her, but I didn't name her, no? But those women know themselves. In this episode, we continue to talk about people in politics. This time, sons-in-law, and especially Turkey's president's son-in-law, Berat Albayrak, who resigned from his post as the economy minister recently. Nazlan, your last article was about him, no?
Yes, it was. I think everybody wrote about him, mainly because he had such an unorthodox resignation. He has posted the text of his resignation on Instagram, which was unheard of.
And unedited, no?
Well, it contains so many mistakes that it must have been unedited. We always knew that the guy was not good with numbers because of the state of the Turkish economy, but apparently grammar is not his strong point either.
No.
But the guy is an enigmatic figure. Berat, as he's called by the Turkish media, is actually seen by some as one of the most influential figures in the late Erdogan administration. He is the prince in waiting. He is the king in the making. He is the successor. He is the heir apparent. But for many others, he is just a distraction, the yes man of Erdogan, and a young man who's not too bright, but who had the fortune of marrying the Sultan's daughter.
He has long been a laughingstock, hasn't he?
He has, ever since his days as the energy minister, but it has increased somehow when he became the economy minister, particularly with his rather naive and infantile presentations. And of course, he did not have much of the confidence of the international markets.
Indeed so, and look at the Turkish economy.
He has managed to plunge the Turkish lira at an all-time low vis-a-vis the dollar and euro.
I heard a man on TV after his resignation, an ordinary man who was interviewed on the street. He was saying that I wouldn't employ him even as a clerk in my shop. Forget about the minister position, he said.
I think many of his bureaucrats, as well as members of the ruling Justice and Development Party, thought along the same lines. Although he will not be at all missed in the finance sector, I think there is one sector that's going to miss him a lot, and
let me guess, humorists?
Cartoonists as well, yes.
There will be a void now after his departure among the humorists. But I'm not sure he is completely out of the game. After all, his family is important for Erdogan, and he has been surrounding himself with family members. So Berat may come back. Don't you think so?
I think many members of the Justice and Development Party would try to do their best to ensure that he doesn't come back. But of course, it's not like the Ottoman times when if the Sultan was not happy with his Grand Vizier, he would simply cut off his head or send him in exile. This is the modern times, and we may not have seen the last of Berat yet.
Yes, sons-in-law in Ottoman times were as important as in the modern times, weren't they? In school, we had to memorize the names of numerous viziers and ministers who married into the royal family.
Yes, indeed. I mean, even beginning from the daughter of Murat I at the founding of the empire to the very last, the infamous son-in-law who signed the Sevr Treaty that ended the Ottoman Empire. There were so many sons-in-law who were also the Grand Vizier and who played essential parts in the Ottoman history. Of course, you would remember that these would be boys from the Balkan region who would be taken away from their family, got an education in the palace, and if they were bright, they would be among the trusted civil servants of the Sultan. If they were really good, they were married off to one of the imperial princesses. And if they were really, really good, and if their wives were ambitious, they could even become the Grand Vizier. There were so many of them in the history.
How nice a person is trained to be your husband. How convenient, isn't it?
Also very convenient for the empire. You see, those guys had no loyalty except to the Sultan, and they had no lineage that they knew of. They had no pedigree, unlike their counterparts in Europe. So the imperial princess, the Sultan, and the Balkanic boy could not establish their own dynasty, which in turn could actually challenge the bloodline of the Sultan and challenge the throne.
That's also convenient.
Indeed, it is convenient, and usually those sons-in-law had the same term as their fathers-in-law.
Sounds like Jared Kushner.
Yes, the other son-in-law who made the news last week. Yes, Jared Kushner, the senior advisor to the president, particularly on the matters of the Middle East, will also be leaving the White House, just like Trump. And I don't think the State Department is going to be particularly sad about it. They were saying that the Middle East diplomacy is far too complicated to be carried out from the cell phone of Mr. Kushner.
In that case, perhaps the best is to exchange the two men, huh? We can import Kushner to Ankara so he can continue to work on his Middle East reconstruction plan from here. We love reconstruction in Turkey as well as diplomatic back channels. And Berat Albayrak, who made the US dollar so strong in Turkey against the lira, can continue his economic policy with the new US administration and make dollar great again in Washington. What do you say to that?
Great idea. Would you like more coffee?
Yes, let's have it.